My name's Dylan, this is Roel. We're making this YouTube channel to document the process, our wholesale journey, how it's going, what adversities we faced, what we've gone through, how we got here, and how we're going to get to the next level and actually execute all of this properly. And the in-depth business, we're going to drop the whole entire wholesale game on here for free. If you guys want to learn, pull out your paper and your pen. This is exactly where you're going to do it. But this video is just going to mainly be a breakdown about me and Roel. So I'm kind of going to get into the backstory of where it all started for me, and then you can kind of say your part. So for me, I did wrestling my whole entire life, and I really do believe that gave me a mindset in which I just cannot accept losing. I've always been a sore loser. That's a big trait about me as a kid. I understand the mindset, and all of my coaches have always told me, don't be a sore loser, don't be a sore loser, but there's always been something in my heart in particular where I just cannot accept losing. I cannot accept being less than what I can be. I cannot accept not living to my max potential. And I like to make sure my actions align with that. It all started with wrestling. I am a state champion. I am #1 in Florida. I am a multiple time All-American, national champ. Everything, every accolade you could think of, I have it. But that's where 99% of my mindset, I would say, got implemented, and why I think I'm a beast and hyper-competitive in business.
As far as sports and mindset goes, as an individual who was kind of like an underdog in the sport that I was in, I played football, I played baseball. I was playing and competing against people who obviously had D1 scholarships. As far as mindset and sports goes, I had attended a high school with a bunch of sore losers that didn't stay after school to lift weights, didn't stay after school to do any home drills with the coaches. I was pretty much a underdog, right? I was never skilled. I was never good at the sport that I played. But the one thing that nobody could take away from me was effort. Effort, but also learning through my mistakes and actually listening and talking to other mentors / coaches, because as an individual who really fucking sucked at sports, I made sure that I was watching highlights, sure that I grasped every single thing that somebody else was doing that I wasn't doing to become the individual that I currently am today. Now, as far as like sports goes, this guy right here, again, state champion. I went to a school where our football games were fucking terrible. 0-10 for 2 seasons. And keep in mind, with those two losing seasons that I personally had to go through, it built a fire inside of me to let me know that, listen, you are going to have days, you are going to have weeks, or maybe months that you are just going to lose. But if you look at it from a tunnel vision perspective, you see the light at the tunnel. Eventually, you are going to win. But you can't win until you actually grasp some information.
I really want to reiterate what he said about effort. Something that I really like about effort is I was also very unathletic. I was the worst of the worst. I just was blessed to do it for a lot of years and have a family that pushed me in that. But something about effort that I truly believe sports and business correlate entirely. And a lot of people can't pull a concept and understand how they correlate. But what I believe is the reason we're so successful, and something that correlates in that factor for me, is effort. So the same way he said, extra weights, drills, highlights, whatever you can do to get an edge. If you can understand that concept right there, whatever you can do to get an edge on the competition, it's the same exact thing in wholesaling. And I know when I was coming up, I did everything I can do to get an edge on the competition. And that's the thing about the mountain of life. There's many roads, there's many paths up the mountain of life, but guess what? Everybody at the top, everything is in common, and I fucking guarantee that, bro. So when I was wholesaling, the way I'm going to correlate that topic is I was listening to podcasts about people talking instead of listening to rap music at the gym. I was learning sales tactics. I was going to sales seminars and paying $1,000 for an Andy Elliott event just so I could get an edge, just so I could know one more rebuttal that could change it all on that sales call.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but how many people told you that that was corny?
I would say when I was at the Andy Elliott convention, 99% of people paid $1,000 to be there or whatever, their boss or whatever, and they were like this on their phone. I did not stop taking notes the whole entire time I was there, and I had people after I posted the event say, yeah, Andy Elliott was corny. Whoever says that is a loser, and I guarantee it, bro. It all lies in the person, right? There's two people in this world. There's someone who believes they can do it, and there's someone who believes they can't do it. They're both right. And that's what I take away from that when somebody says, oh, this person's a sham, this person's corny. No, if you believe what he's saying and you implement it in your life immediately, you will get the results. And I can guarantee that. But I'm going to go and I'm going to speak about my job. So the sport mindset was automatically instilled. I've been winning for a long time, instilled in me. I've won a lot of wrestling matches I thought I could never win. So eventually, right after high school, I got straight into my first job. I was a valet driver. This was the one and only job I ever had, and I worked there for 9 months. So I would have a boss, a manager, who would come through. He would tell me what to do. He would curse at me. He would talk to me like I was less than who I was and who I know I was. And I just couldn't accept that. So guess what? One day, they came to me, they said, Dylan, you're not old enough to work here. I worked at a strip club, and a lot of people might think that's cool. I didn't meet the age requirement to be there, so they came to me one day because I caught my boss stealing, and they said, Dylan, you can't work here anymore. And they looked at me, they said, I'm sorry. I said, don't say sorry, bro. I don't need this job. And I walked off, and I had my brother pick me up. And my brother and I worked the same job. That's why being successful wholesaling, it was very important to me. Because this doesn't just come from me being successful. My success is innate. I'm going to be successful no matter what. He's going to be successful no matter what. But guess what? We both have brothers. We both have families that we have to provide for. At the end of the day, it's a bigger picture than him and I. And that's why we work so hard. So again, if you're at a 9 to 5 and you're in that position where you know you're better than this person who's giving you orders, telling you when to go to the bathroom, telling you when to take a piss, cursing you out, treating you like you're nothing. You are better than that. I knew I was better than that. And I don't care if somebody says I'm a narcissist, if I have too much ego. I was better than everybody there. And I believed it. And guess what? That's why I am where I am. That's why I'm going to buy my dream car. That's why I'm moving to Brickell right now as we speak. That's why I live in Miami. I moved away. I separated from every single person. I only knew drug dealers and scammers. I left that whole entire life behind, and I chose and I recreated myself, and I became who I needed to become in order to give my family generational wealth.
I worked as a cashier at a grocery store, and again, he's laughing, but I was the guy that would literally just scan the groceries and hear beep, beep, beep every single second and put up with people's bullshit that I sincerely just really didn't care about. But again, kind of going back to what he said, serving people, asking when to use the restroom, asking how this person's day was. Don't get me wrong, I'm a person that's all about hospitality. I love to speak to people, but when it comes to just scanning people's groceries, actually putting the groceries in the bag, the main customers that would walk in were rich kids. And I'm not gonna lie, not speaking about insecurity or anything like that, but I don't come from a family or household with money. So oftentimes I would speak to people who did come from money, and I would learn about what type of background they came from, right? But again, I had no envy. There was no jealousy involved whatsoever. I told myself every single day that, listen, one day I'm gonna have my future kids go into a grocery store, spend whatever X amount of dollars to buy whatever they need, because growing up personally, I never had that opportunity. I actually had to eat off of my mom's plate. And again, working at that grocery store job every single day just put so much pressure, so much stress in my body every single day. And yes, I say body and I was scanning groceries, but listen, you guys do not understand how much mental fatigue I had dealing with people's bullshit. So one day I made a TikTok video that changed my life forever. I basically said, fuck the grocery store company, and I got fired. And kind of going back to what he said when he got let go. They said, oh, I'm sorry to let you know, but we got to let you go. When my manager told me that, you guys might think when you lose a job, like it's all about a huge fat L that you're just taking at the end of the day. But really, I didn't take an L. Honestly, it was God's blessing knowing that I got fired from a job that I personally dislike. Again, managers telling me what to do, managers telling me to go help out this individual, go do this and that, push baskets, shit like that. Again, when I got fired, it was the biggest turning point in my life because I happened to fall into an industry called wholesaling real estate. And now, again, I'm able to make anywhere between 6 to 5 figures per month instead of making $15 per hour scanning a fucking tomato across the fucking cashier. Like who?
But who do you think was more of a loser?
The people that were scanning the fucking groceries.
Okay, I agree. I think I was less of a loser than you in my old life.
No.
So, how we met out of somebody's mentorship. I randomly DM'd this guy on Instagram. I just saw one of his reels and one of my friends sent me his reel. That's how I met Roel. And he, on his own time, found the same mentor. We both happened to join that same mentorship at the same time. We're in one of these guys' coaching calls. I'm not gonna lie, this guy damn near scammed us. He was like, we're gonna have coaching calls every single week. We got on 1 or 2 coaching calls. He never ever did it again. But in the chat, I said, I dropped my phone number. I said, hey, if anybody wants to meet me, here's my info. Roel texted me, and we just started talking ever since. I did get a lot of information from that guy. He did help me for a year or so straight. And I could call him and ask him whatever I needed because he did like me and he did see the persistence within me. And I do believe from the mindset factor, he was there. But as far as actually wholesaling, marketing, systems, and processes, he did really do a lot of gatekeeping. I mean, what do you think about that?
I mean, honestly, like the shit that we personally do now, like systems and like type of marketing that he kind of displayed us at the time, yeah, it was somewhat decent information. I'm not gonna say good. It was honestly just garbage information. That's like stuff that a bunch of amateurs like do currently until this day. But listen, we spent about what, 3,000 to 4,000 for information. Was it 3 to 4? How much did he pay you? Because he probably overpaid me.
I paid like $4K.
Okay,
for 1
so
month
I probably
membership.
paid about $4K per month. But listen, we're the only 2 that made it out the Discord because we were the only 2 that actually saw a future with this, right? Not just wholesaling in general, but we were able to exit wholesaling and get into fix and flips again. But the mentor himself, he makes a good amount of money, but he is not doing what we're currently doing. And it all happened with the foundation of trial and error, because with the shit he didn't teach us, we had to venture out, we had to spend money, we had to talk to a couple heads, we had to network with a lot of people. There was just so many things like trial and error that we just had to figure out, but it took time.
I will say though, he could have just showed us.
He could have showed us, but
he was green for he was green for gatekeeping. Fakers and quitters. This is something really big I want to talk about in the wholesale community. I'm going to be honest. I know you know the game of fakers. I know people who were selling courses about wholesale real estate that never even I closed the only deal they ever closed. And I know people who sold courses who never closed a fucking deal. And honestly, guys, you have to understand, if that's your backbone, if you're just flat out a sham, eventually you're going to ruin your name in the community like Sam Millsap, like any of these other guys, Vincent Fisher, whatever, and you are going to be a uncredible source. And it doesn't even make sense. It's more difficult to keep up a facade and talk about a bunch of bullshit and post a bunch of fake business models that you don't even do than to just post a business model. A lot of people don't understand. All the glitter is not gold. I bought houses before I bought my dream car. I retired my mom before I bought my dream car. I fucking took care of my brother and gave him a full-time job before I bought my dream car. So you guys need to understand, all the glitter is not gold. I know people who post cars that aren't theirs. I know people who sell information that they don't even use or do, which is 99% of these people. So now I want to get into the topic of quitters. The other day, Roel and I bought a course from a very well-known land flipper in real estate. A land flipper.
Burnt.
And we literally looked at him and I said, bro, I want to buy your buyer's list. I don't need your mentorship. I don't need your information. I'm already making $50K a month wholesaling at this point. I just want your land buyer's list so I can just rip land at the same time. We send this guy like 10K, 5K, and 5K. Bro, he did not respond to us for 3 months straight.
3 months.
Did not give us a buyer's list. At the end of it, he gave us some bullshit on some notes, like
it was fake buyers.
like 100 phone numbers on a thing. Like, bro, this guy dead ass searched up land buyers on ChatGPT, copied it, and pasted us, and hit us for 10K. But guess what? That guy ended up going to jail, and that guy ended up getting what he gets. And God is always going to reward who he deems rewardable. So at the end of the day, when all the doors are closed, it doesn't matter what you do. If you don't have a firm handshake, if you look at people in the eyes and lie, if you don't really go all in and do what you're saying and live the life you say you're living behind the closed doors, God is going to give you what he gives you. You know what I'm saying? And that's something I will completely live by forever. What do you think about those two things I said?
Whatever is in the dark must come to the light eventually. So that's, I mean, he's burnt. That's all I got to say. And this is an individual that I found and I believed and I trusted. But
I trusted him too, and it turned out to be a whole bunch of bullshit. But whatever. Look, guys, all of that now led me to the point where I'm doing my own fix and flips. I have a wholesale company that does $100,000 a month. I currently own 3 fix and flips, and I'm building 10 townhomes. This was only possible, I will truly say, from God. Every luck of the draw, every single card I was drawn brought me to the point where I can take care of my brother. I can take care of my mom. I can help him take care of his family. I can put him on fix and flips. I can put him on real estate development. And that only all came from God. Every single L we took, every single risk we took, we damn near got to the point where he was running out of money and he said, Dylan, I'm going to go back to college. Like, bro, I don't know what I'm going to do. What did I say to you when you said that to me?
you said you are going to make the fucking worst decision of your life if you end up going back to school.
He ended up not going to college. I called him a pussy, and we kept going. We kept pushing, and somehow we cracked like 2 20, 30K deals, and we kept it rolling ever since then, and now we're balling all of a sudden. But truly, I will say, all of this was built off the struggle. We never had anything handed to us. Nobody ever helped us. In fact, they fucked us every single step along the way, and we still overcame the adversity and figured it out. And guess what? I will tell you guys, 99% of those people who screwed us over and lied to us, they're out of business. I can only think of one of them who's still in business that has a real company. Guys, 99% of this industry is a facade, so I'm documenting. We're going to show you our live closings, our HUD statements, us getting paid out from attorneys, us walking into offices and closing. We're going to document everything.
Speaking of closings, there's this one individual that has a big name tied to themselves and has a YouTube, has the status, but fakes their closing calls. You know who I'm talking about.
Guys, I'm not going to say any names, but I can expose the biggest people in the industry. To be honest with you, and Courtney Scott ran my ads. Eric Klein's marketer. Guys, I'm going to tell you straight up right now, not to slander, not to say anything. These guys are fucking liars. They will run your ads shitty. Yes, some of the ads will hit for some people and they'll keep running. I'm going to tell you, I ran ads with Courtney Scott for 6 months straight. It was bullshit. My CPL was terrible. They never looked at my ads. They never optimized. I made every single decision on my ads by myself. I filled out the forms. I gave them information on every single lead that I received. To be honest, do not roll with Courtney Scott's ads. They were completely terrible, and he stuck me with some fucking VA from Egypt, bro, and I was paying this guy like $4K a month, bro, just to run my ads. On top of my $8K a month budget for my ad spend, netted $0.
And isn't it like kind of crazy to think, like, as an individual who's never touched ads, right, doesn't know jack shit about it, I came up with the solution, and it was an easy, simple fix. And this is something that they could have figured out by themselves, but they didn't do it for us because they are probably like one of the worst. they're just the worst marketer.
That's the worst marketer in the industry. I want to get that straight. Eric Klein's marketer, Courtney Scott, fucking sucks in my experience. To be honest, like I said, not to slander, just honest experience, and I can show you the whole documentation. I was texting and calling this guy while he was running my ads. I said, Courtney, what's going on? I have it documented. Me reaching out to him a good 10 to 15 times, left undelivered, actively paying this guy $4K per month. So I just want to say, guys, like I said, all that glitter isn't gold. You can go find an 18-year-old that's going to run the ads better out of a fucking college dorm than these people. And that's what I'm saying, guys. The whole industry is damn near a sham, and I'm here to expose it and show you guys exactly what I do for free. So I hope you guys appreciate it. I'm going to be going more in depth on the wholesaling itself on the next video.